The video ain't really the issue. The video being posted up on social media is the issue. If someone would have sent her that video privately, she and I would have had one conversation about it.
Let me ask somebody who know me for real, right? Who really know me.
Man, I'm gonna tell you what you want to hear.
I think you have. Do you think I'm like from
what she got?
I think she's heavy.
This is a story of betrayal, heartbreak, and deception on a scale that shakes even the strongest person to their core. Tiny Harris, a woman known for her resilience, her talent, and her unwavering presence in the music world, just faced the most devastating truth of her life. And it all began with a DNA test she never wanted to see. Imagine waking up one day thinking your life is exactly as it should be, your family intact, your friendships trusted, your marriage strong, and then in a single moment, everything you believed in crumbles. That moment came for Tiny, and it started with a secret she had no way of knowing existed. Imagine discovering that the father of your best friend's child is, in fact, your husband. That's right, Shekinah's baby belongs to Clifford Harris Jr., better known as T.I. The moment that truth landed on Tiny's hands, her world stopped. She didn't scream, she didn't pro anything, she simply froze, like the very air around her had been stolen and the ground she stood on disappeared. This isn't a story of petty jealousy or scandalous rumors. This is a story of betrayal so deep it shakes the very foundation of trust, loyalty, and love. And what makes it even more shocking is the fact that the same man who promised her forever and the same woman she considered her sister were hiding the secret from her, together. It's a betrayal that turns the word itself into something almost meaningless. And for Tiny, the reality of it all was worse than anything anyone could have imagined. For months leading up to the revelation, tension had been quietly building around Tiny Harris, T.I., and Shekinah. The signs were there, subtle and almost unnoticeable if you weren't paying attention. Late-night meetings, unexpected inside jokes, and secretive glances when Tiny wasn't around. All of these things combined to create an atmosphere that was thick with suspicion. Tiny noticed some of it, but she ignored the warnings because, for a woman in her position, denial was cheaper than heartbreak. She wanted to believe in her marriage, her family, and her friendship. She wanted to trust the people she loved. But the illusion didn't last. When Shekinah began to glow, when rumors of a pregnancy started circulating, the whispers in Atlanta turned into a roaring fire. At first, people laughed off the rumors. Shekinah insisted the father was someone private, someone not connected to the world she and Tiny inhabited. But the truth, as it often does, had a way of surfacing. Observers began noticing odd behavior, cars pulling up at strange hours, jewelry glimpsed under hoodies, and T.I.'s sudden and almost obsessive defense of Shekinah during interviews. Even small details, his tone, the way he looked at her, started to raise questions. And while Tiny tried to ignore them, the tension that had been simmering quietly was about to explode. The turning point came late at night. Tiny received a package marked confidential. Inside, a folded lab report and a sticky note that read, "You deserve the truth." She hesitated for what felt like hours. Everyone says they want the truth until it arrives at their doorstep with hard evidence. Tiny finally opened it. The paper shook in her hands. The results were clear: 99.98% DNA match. Father, Clifford Harris Jr. In that instant, Tiny's world collapsed. Her breath froze, her stomach dropped, and her mind replayed every interaction with Shekinah. The smiles, the laughs, the reassurances. Tiny whispered, "Not her." And for a brief moment, time seemed to stop. The shock wasn't just about the affair. It was about the betrayal by two people she loved and trusted deeply. The layers of deceit, the hidden phone calls, the secretive meetings, and the lies carefully crafted to hide the truth all came rushing back in one overwhelming wave. This wasn't just cheating or infidelity. It was a deliberate dismantling of everything she held sacred. The next morning, the internet erupted. #TIDNA was trending across multiple social media platforms. Memes appeared almost immediately. Tiny crying, Shekinah smiling, captions like "Sisterhood of the Traveling Lies." Fans debated, speculated, and replayed every piece of content they could find, trying to piece the story together. Shekinah attempted to go live on social media, thinking she could explain, but the backlash was immediate and brutal. Snake emojis flooded the comment sections. Viewers demanded answers, and when Shekinah was pressed directly about the baby's father, she froze, wiped her tears, and abruptly ended the live. Meanwhile, T.I. scrambled to control the narrative, threatening legal action against anyone leaking details, trying to rewrite the story before the public could decide. But it was too late. Screenshots of alleged text messages between T.I. and Shekinah, anonymous voice notes, and insider leaks had already painted a picture of deceit, one that the public couldn't ignore. And through it all, Tiny remained silent, her absence fueling speculation and curiosity even more.
For years, Tiny Harris and Shekinah Anderson were inseparable. On the surface, they were the definition of friendship goals, laughing, sharing secrets, building a business empire together, and entertaining millions of fans on television. Shekinah, who started as Tiny's hairstylist, became her confidant, co-star, and partner in business ventures, including the 2014 spin-off show Tiny and Shekinah's Weave Trip. The world saw them as a dynamic duo, raw, authentic, and relatable. Fans were captivated by their energy, their chemistry, and the undeniable bond that seemed unbreakable. Yet, behind the scenes, cracks were forming, subtle at first but deepening over time. Shekinah began feeling more like an employee than a friend. Rumors swirled that Tiny underpaid her, excluded her from key opportunities, and left her unsupported when she needed guidance the most. Tiny, meanwhile, was juggling fame, family, and a husband whose name was constantly embroiled in controversy. The pressure on both women was immense, but neither could predict the storm that was about to break. The breaking point came on New Year's Eve when Shekinah went live on Instagram. Her eyes were swollen, her voice cracked with emotion, and tears streamed down her face. What started as an emotional release quickly turned into a confession that shook Atlanta to its core. Shekinah accused T.I. of mocking her publicly on a flight, calling her the help in front of other passengers. She recounted sitting in first class, humiliated while strangers watched in disbelief. Her anger and pain were palpable, and she went further to claim that Tiny, the friend everyone trusted, had once forced her into confrontations she did not want, threatening her in order to protect her husband's image. Fans were stunned. The woman who had been a symbol of loyalty and strength was now exposing the side of Tiny that no one had ever seen, revealing betrayal, manipulation, and hurt that had been simmering for years. As the emotional Instagram live unraveled, rumors about Shekinah's pregnancy began circulating online. While most dismissed them as tabloid gossip, the situation escalated quickly when alleged DNA results leaked, showing a near-perfect match between Shekinah's child and Clifford T.I. Harris. Suddenly, speculation became undeniable. The internet exploded and fans dissected every detail of Shekinah's livestream in a new light. Was her breakdown a confession, a plea for sympathy, or genuine pain? For Tiny Harris, the news was devastating. After years of defending her husband, standing by him through allegations, rumors, and legal battles, the confirmation of Shekinah's child threatened to destroy the public image she had carefully maintained. It was the ultimate test of patience, loyalty, and resilience, and the world was watching every move. Tiny's response, however, was unlike anyone expected. She did not immediately address the scandal publicly, but she was far from silent behind the scenes. While Shekinah's tears streamed across screens worldwide, Tiny was collecting evidence, digging through messages, and preparing for the moment she could reclaim her narrative. Within days, screenshots and voice notes emerged that painted a different story entirely. Shekinah's tone shifted completely from anger to remorse. She apologized to Tiny for letting emotions get the best of her and admitted that her claims had been exaggerated. Tiny had been portrayed as a manipulative villain, but these messages proved otherwise. Fans who had initially believed Shekinah now began questioning her motives. The narrative had flipped,
and Tiny's composure remained unshaken. She did not need to engage in dramatic posts or public outbursts. Her proof spoke volumes, and the internet couldn't ignore it. Finally, Tiny broke her silence publicly, not with a lengthy post or a tearful video, but with a single savage Instagram story. She wrote, "If you don't have proof that whatever you be talking about is working for you, man, do everyone a favor and shut your ass up." That was it. No drama, no emotional outburst, just calm, collected power. Fans erupted. Some called it the softest mic drop in Atlanta history, a moment of quiet dominance in the midst of chaos. Tiny had reclaimed her narrative, but it wasn't just about defending her name, it was about peace. She was no longer interested in proving herself or defending a crumbling marriage. Instead, she focused on what mattered most: her music, her family, and her personal growth.
Meanwhile, the fallout for Shekinah and T.I. was severe. Shekinah's credibility took a hit as fans began scrutinizing her previous statements and motives. T.I., who had once been seen as untouchable, now faced sponsorship withdrawals, public skepticism, and mounting scrutiny over his personal life. The very empire he had built, which relied heavily on his public image and personal brand, began to show cracks. And Tiny? She had not only survived the storm, but had emerged stronger. Her poise and control over the narrative demonstrated her resilience, strategic thinking, and ability to rise above chaos, reminding everyone why she had become an icon in the first place. To fully understand the drama, we need to go back several years. Tiny Harris and Shekinah Anderson's friendship had been tested multiple times, long before the New Year's Eve Instagram Live. In 2021, former friend Sabrina Peterson accused both Tiny and T.I. of misconduct, sparking waves of controversy and social media backlash. Peterson claimed that Tiny had manipulated situations to control women around T.I., allegations that shocked fans and created a media frenzy. Shekinah initially defended Tiny and T.I., going live to counter the allegations. However, that defense backfired spectacularly. Instead of clearing her friends, Shekinah's statements fueled the controversy and confirmed suspicions in the eyes of many observers. That moment marked the beginning of the end for her relationship with Tiny. The public backlash Shekinah faced for standing up for Tiny only widened the rift, leaving her feeling abandoned and betrayed. The combination of public humiliation, internal disputes, and years of unspoken tension created the perfect storm for the explosive events that followed. Tiny's silence during Shekinah's initial live streams was strategic. She knew that rushing to respond without proof could backfire, potentially harming her credibility further. Instead, she meticulously prepared her response, gathering evidence that would not only clear her name, but also reveal the truth behind the online narratives. This calculated patience allowed Tiny to emerge not just unscathed, but empowered. Her comeback was a lesson in restraint, resilience, and the power of controlling your own story. Once Tiny's evidence came to light, the consequences were immediate. Sponsors began distancing themselves from T.I. His public image, already fragile due to years of controversy, now teetered on the edge. Fans debated endlessly on social media, dissecting every screenshot, every voice note, and every past interaction between the trio. Shekinah's reputation suffered irreparable damage. Once celebrated for her humor, charisma, and loyalty, she was now seen as unpredictable, emotional, and unreliable. The woman who had once been Tiny's closest ally had lost her credibility in the court of public opinion, while T.I. faced the steepest professional and personal fall of his career. What remained of their previously untouchable image was now marred by scandal, legal disputes, and public distrust. Tiny, on the other hand, emerged victorious, not through aggression or vindictiveness, but through composure and strategy. She filed for divorce, citing irreparable damage, betrayal, and public humiliation. After more than a decade of marriage, she made the decision to reclaim her life, her career, and her peace. And she did it quietly, without unnecessary drama, proving that true strength lies not in fighting every battle publicly, but in winning the ones that matter most. Her Instagram posts in the months that followed emphasized resilience, growth, and focus on her music and personal life. She became a symbol of survival and empowerment, showing fans that no matter how powerful the chaos, it cannot define your narrative unless you let it. The Tiny Harris, T.I., and Shekinah Anderson saga is more than just celebrity gossip. It is a story about friendship, loyalty, betrayal, and resilience. Tiny Harris's response demonstrates the power of truth, patience, and strategy. By owning her story, maintaining composure, and carefully presenting evidence, she reclaimed her life and redefined her public image. For Shekinah, the story is a cautionary tale about emotional impulsivity, loyalty, and the dangers of public exaggeration. For T.I., it is a reminder that personal actions inevitably affect professional reputations, and even the strongest empires can crumble from within. And yet, the story wasn't over. Weeks after the initial revelation, Tiny reportedly received an anonymous package containing a flash drive labeled "The Rest of the Truth." Insiders claim the drive contains recordings, footage, and messages that could reveal even more deception and hidden betrayals. Tiny walked through the airport, calm, untouchable, wearing sunglasses, with an air of authority and composure. When asked if she would ever forgive those who betrayed her, she replied, "Forgiveness is for peace, not for reunion." That simple statement encapsulated everything she had endured: loss, heartbreak, deception, and showed that she had emerged stronger, wiser, and completely in control of her own narrative. In a world fueled by chaos, scandal, and social media frenzy, Tiny didn't just survive, she owned the story. So what do you think? Was Tiny's heartbreak karma or cruelty? Should Shekinah be forgiven, or is betrayal something that demands a life sentence? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because the internet court never closes and the story continues to unfold. In a city where loyalty is currency, Tiny Harris has proven one undeniable truth: the power of truth will always outshine lies. She transformed her pain into power, her silence into headlines, and her heartbreak into a story the world will never forget. This is more than gossip. This is a full-scale reckoning of trust, friendship, love, and betrayal. And for anyone watching, one thing is clear: the truth always stands taller than any empire built on deception.